This is Volusia Today, a public information radio program brought to you by the County of Volusia.
Good morning, Volusia County. My name is Michael Ryan, and you are listening to Volusia Today, your one and only trusted source for Volusia County news. Maggie?
Good. That was good. That was solid.
Right. I cut out all those other 19 different words that were horrible and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we have a couple guests today. I make up my intro on the way in every day before I jump in the seat 30 minutes before airtime. So today I'm joined by my guest host, Maggie. Maggie, how are you doing this today?
I'm good. How are you?
Do you get big weekend plans?
Not really. We're headed out to the lake house this weekend to spend some time with James's family, so that'll be fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Gentlemen, every show we also get an update on Maggie's pending wedding. so far, if I tell me if I get this wrong. So far, we have picked a location and we have picked a dress.
Yes.
So what's the next big thing?
We have planners. So I'm meeting with different planners to get a month of coordinator. So someone who will be there like day of to like set stuff up, which is kind of stressful because like you spend the whole time planning all this and then you don't get to like set it up. Like somebody else gets to set it up and you have to hope that like they're going to do it right.
That sounds the opposite of stressful. That sounds like okay.
Yeah, but like what if they don't do it right? And then you're like, what do I do? So we're going through that. And yesterday we got our bridesmaids dresses in. So I'm really excited about that. And I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about them, but I kind of love them. I'm kind of obsessed with them. Like want to keep them for myself. But
nice.
I can't do that.
How many bridesmaids?
6 or 8. We're kind of debating. So we'll see.
Did you call Publix to get your cake ordered yet?
No, I actually have a really good friend who does like wedding cakes, and so she's doing my wedding cake. She's also in the bridal party, so it'll be fun.
Nice. Well, my daughter actually works at Publix for the record, so I very much support
maybe
Publix.
I should call Publix
in
for my
the
wedding
bakery.
cake.
No, I would never trust her to make my food at all, her in particular. That is not a Volusia County Publix for the record, too. Let's make sure we know that. Well, Maggie, congratulations. We'll get an update next show.
Yeah.
Next and stuff. Let's get right into our guest. Actually, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yeah, sure. We have some pretty awesome guests today. I work with you guys all the time, so I'm excited. But we have Daniel Marsh, our Echo manager, and then we have Tim Telfer with Land Acquisition Manager, both with Resource Stewardship. So welcome, guys. We're happy to have you.
Good morning.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So can you guys help? Wait, why do you get land? Let's just start there. Why do you guys exist? Why do you have a job?
Well, why do we get land? So, obviously, Florida is under a bit of development pressure these days, and more of this natural habitat gets consumed. More people experience congestion on the roadways, look for some areas that are an oasis from some of the development that we all experience every day. So, this program exists to basically acquire conservation land, protect natural resources, provide habitat for wildlife, provide water recharge areas, and basically protect our natural resources.
Okay. And when you say this program, what program are you referring to?
So this program is called the Volusia Forever program.
Okay.
It's got quite an extensive history dating back to 1986. We're in the third iteration of it right now.
Wow.
All 3 times it's been approved by the voters via referendum at over 75% most recently. So it's a very popular program.
Yeah, that's phenomenal for a referendum to get that kind of vote consistently, like 3 different times, right?
Yes.
When was the last time it was re-upped in 2020?
2020, yeah. First way back in 1986, then 2000, and most recently in 2020.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so during that time, I don't want to put you on the spot too hardcore with numbers, but how much land have you guys acquired?
So since 1986, the number is roughly 55,000 acres.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Holy moly.
Yep.
And so what happens with that land?
So the land is conserved. So when Volusia Forever acquires a piece of property, it is conserved in perpetuity, so meaning forever. And that's an important thing for us to discuss today because you'll hear people have a discussion about conservation lands being re-entered into the development window. That does not happen in Volusia County. When Volusia County buys a piece of property, it is preserved forever.
What is the difference between that? Like, how do we know that it's never going to be resold into distribution?
So it gets a little bit complicated.
Okay.
But basically what you'll see is there are regulatory easements on the state side that have been kind of released. And they're released for a specific purpose. Most recently, people saw some down in Central Florida for a new roadway. That's not something that Volusia County does. When Volusia County acquires a piece of property, it is preserved forever.
Just so you guys know, before we go forward, Maggie is our resident tree hugger. She makes her own soap.
I think you called me a woodland fairy last week.
She's a woodland fairy. So I'm going to ask you the easy questions, but she's going to be the one that says, now, what happens with it? She may be a little more hardcore.
They know me, though. It's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry. We went straight in. Well, could you guys actually tell me I don't understand, I think I kind of do, the difference between Echo, and we've not talked about Echo yet, but the difference between Echo and Volusia Forever. I think people get that confused a little bit.
Sure, yeah. You want to start, Daniel?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's definitely synergy between the two programs, but Echo is more of a grant-based program. It's an environmental, cultural, historic, and outdoor recreation program that also has its own referendum. That the first one got approved in 2000 for 20 years, and then the second one got approved in 2020. About 72% of the voters voted as well.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's more of a grant-initiated program where we work with municipalities and nonprofits to fund the 4 categories of Echo in the area.
Okay, and what are those categories?
The E is environmental, C is cultural, H is historic, and then outdoor recreation for the O.
Wow.
Wow. So, Maggie, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, it's kind of cool. I work with you guys quite a bit, and I go out and do all the site visits and stuff. And it's cool to see those different categories in action because it is historical, cultural. Like, you see all of those things. But do you have any examples of ones that you've worked with specifically?
Yeah, so projects as far as the E category would be like the Lyonia Environmental Center, the Marine Science Center, Marine Discovery Center, and then cultural would be like your Daytona Playhouse, the MOAS, Museum of Art and Sciences. For historic, we have DeBerry Hall, Sugar Mill Gardens, and then most of our programs are outdoor programs. We have about 150 projects in the outdoor category. That would be like your skate parks, your trails. We also have athletic fields, Earl Brown Park, Spec Martin, those type of projects as well. So,
Daniel, is it? I don't want to oversimplify this, but is it fair to say that Echo does, and it's not about the size either, but Echo does smaller projects that are grant-based within the cities and within the whole county, whereas Volusia Forever goes out and buys large tracts of land and preserves them in perpetuity?
We do, and that's they generally are large tracts of land, but we also do some smaller acquisitions also.
Okay.
And we can talk a little bit about that today. We have a small lots program. We do acquisitions down. We most recently did one at 4.5 acres. All the way up to 2,500 acres. We have one in the pipeline right now at 5,500 acres. So we have some good things that are coming along too.
I got a house in South Daytona. You guys want? It's about a 1/4 acre. you guys?
You're welcome to submit it. But all these. So this is a willing seller program. Let me start there. So we'll just talk a little bit about the process here. Just generally, it is a willing seller program. So it would take somebody submitting their property for consideration, and that's actually vetted by a citizens advisory group, an advisory group to the county council. So they'll review the application and make a determination whether it fits the Volusia Forever program or not. And your house may not fit.
That's
Maybe a little different.
That's good to know. It's good. So it's not just staff. It's not just Tim sitting in his office throwing darts at a map, going, "Let's go buy that," right?
No. My job is actually the relationship builder. So I do negotiate and make the deal and then shepherd the property to closing. But my job is to establish a relationship with that landowner, kind of advise them about the steps that are coming up, make sure that they understand all the processes that are involved. So it's going to move through a citizens advisory committee twice and go in front of the county council for the ultimate decision whether this property is or is not going to be acquired.
Okay. Are there any kind of financial boundaries? Like, is there a minimum number you have to spend or a maximum you can spend?
Well, there's no minimum,
Okay.
and maximum we are limited by the financial resources that we have, but we do have the ability to bond if a spectacular piece of property came along. We can go out there, borrow or bond to get those once-in-a-lifetime pieces that sometimes become available.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tell you, let's take a break and come back. I want to know what makes a piece of property attractive to both of you, or a project attractive. How you guys say yes on something. So let's take a break and we'll come.
Subscribe to the Volusia County YouTube channel.
And hit the bell icon to know what's happening in your hometown.
There are so many great places to explore.
And things to learn.
With over 1,000 videos available right now, the channel offers something for everyone.
Let's go!
Did you know we have countless features showcasing history, nature, wildlife, and recreation? Subscribe and hit the bell icon.
Or that we live stream important county meetings and workshops where leaders make decisions that can impact our everyday lives. Did you subscribe yet?
Or that we record our weekly radio show, Volusia Today, where we interview staff from the different divisions and departments across our great county, and they discuss the nitty-gritty of their field and expertise.
Go ahead, subscribe.
But that's not it. There's more. Subscribe and hit the bell icon and fully explore.
Score!
Hello, good morning. Welcome back to Volusia Today. We are joined with Volusia Forever and Volusia Echo. We're happy to have you guys. We were just talking about what makes properties attractive for you guys or projects attractive. Tim, do you want to start and kind of tell us a little bit about what that looks like for Volusia Forever?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So let's talk a little bit about transparency. So we have a number of resolutions that are loaded up onto the Volusia Forever website. So if any citizen is curious about how we evaluate a piece of property, how they're scored, and what is a priority property to us, you can look at Resolution 2023-77, not to get too wonky, but basically that lays out all the criteria questions. So staff will then provide a map series and a set of draft scores to our advisory committee, who has the ultimate authority on whether a property is or is not eligible. But the criteria is listed in the resolution. And basically, we are looking at, as I mentioned before, wildlife habitats, water recharge areas, hydrologic flows, which means like a water discharge to a surface water body. These, and also let me also point out too that we want to add on to existing parks and preserves whenever possible to fill in holdings within them. Those are the types of categories that make a piece of property more attractive to us.
And then once you guys buy a property, do you do improvement? Like I look at Daniel and his program, and I think you guys go in and do improvements all the time, right? Build parks, build skate parks.
Yeah, we're doing improvements, renovation, acquisition. We're making sure that the Volusia County residents have quality of life.
Yes.
And we did a quality of life survey back in 2022, and the main thing that they had asked for, our residents, was water access and more trails.
Yeah.
So we heard them loud and clear, and that's the projects that we're looking to get on the ECHO program with the municipalities and the nonprofits.
So they go in and do acquisition and improvements. Do you guys just do acquisition and leave it I hate this term, but unimproved?
No, we do not. So these are resources for the citizens of Volusia County. So we have a commitment there to try to open these properties up for passive recreation. So citizens get out there, put their feet on this ground, and see and experience this property. That's typically a parking lot, a restroom facility, and then we'll have hiking, biking trails, equestrian trails, features like that. But I also do want to say before we transition that when it comes to a piece of property, we've discussed public access, but the other thing that we want to talk about is stewardship of the land here too. So when we acquire a piece of property, it's not just left fallow or to just kind of be on its own. We have a very, very good land management program within Volusia County, highly qualified staff that go out there and ensure that invasives are taken care of, that the prescribed fire regime is maintained. They deal with things like invasive animals also, and then minor stuff like trespassing and other things that just happen to happen, that come along with owning land.
Right. Yeah. Can we let's talk about the prescribed burns for a second, because up in our office we deal with, every time you guys burn down a tree, we get calls. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
And I think there's just a general fear out in the community about unprescribed burns getting out of hand.
Well, I really would like to minimize that as much as I can. So everybody that lives in Florida by now probably does know, and if you don't, Florida is actually the fire state. We call ourselves a sunshine state, but Florida is the fire state. And we could get a little bit sciencey here, but it's because we're surrounded by water on three sides. We have this differential heating, and it creates some volatility in the atmosphere. And we've historically had for hundreds of thousands of years lightning fires that have moved across the Florida landscape. And these ecosystems have evolved to need fire. And the plants and animals that here also need that fire. So one thing that we like to tell people is that Florida is going to burn, and it will.
That makes me feel really good.
Hey,
Florida is going to burn.
I hope you enjoyed your time on Volusia Today.
So
first and last.
And so you want that to be via prescribed fire and not a wildfire. You want these prescribed fires out there because it does reduce the fuel load in addition to making those ecosystems more healthy.
Yeah, and with prescribed burns too, they do like the fire lines and everything to block the fire, make sure it doesn't get out. There's people watching the fires. There's a lot more that goes into it than a wildfire is just we're gonna try to contain it and hope for the best. This is planned.
It is not only planned, but there's an incredible skill set that these people have, and it's amazing to see, especially once you know what you're seeing out there. Huge amount of science goes into it. So the people are looking at the fuel loads, the fuel type. Weather plays a factor throughout the day. You're constantly monitoring weather, but there's also some talent involved here too. And you see really experienced burners able to use fire to move fire, and it's really an incredible thing to witness.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that. The use fire to.
Yeah, what exactly does that mean?
So when fire is it demands oxygen. It pulls in oxygen, so that moves air as it comes through. So an experienced burner can see the fuel types and fuel loads. He knows what he or she knows what a section of that property is going to go up with a more intense fire. So you can use that knowledge. You can use that wind behind your back or whichever direction it's blowing to know which direction that fire is going to move. So, for example, you can take a piece of a section of your property that has a heavy fuel load on it, knowing that that is going to go up and have taller flames. It's going to pull fire in from around it. And that's what they do. They can pull fire by lighting other areas and move fire around a piece of property for safety.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Maggie, Tim may possibly be the smartest guest we've ever had, right?
Every time I talk to Tim on the phone, I'm like, okay, I need to go back to school. I don't know what just happened. I just learned so much information.
Daniel, no offense, I'm sure you do fine for yourself too. I'm sure you're good.
He's a very smart guy. I'm learning a lot from him.
Tim, I want to clarify. You keep utilizing the term fuel. You're talking, when you say that, you're talking about underbrush and stuff like that.
We are. We're talking about the vegetation. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is either is it alive and green, or is it dead and like just ready to burn, or is it both?
So this is also an interesting topic here too. Florida is one of the only states in the United States where green things burn. And so we get a lot of out-of-state burners that come from California, Oregon, all around the country. And those people come to Florida. They've seen big fire out west. They certainly have catastrophic fire, but it is dry. It is brown out there. And here in Florida, green burns. There are, Salt Palmetto has a pyrogenic, almost like a gel-like material in it that is flammable, and in the right weather conditions, it will go up pretty spectacularly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny when we bought our house, we had saw palmetto on our property, and we had taken it out because it was kind of in a weird area, and it was kind of like in an area where you wouldn't want it to be, and like you need to get through it, so we had removed it. And my grandfather told me, he's like, keep the base of the saw palmetto because you can use it for like bonfires and stuff. And I was like, wait, what? So it's funny you bring that up because I've randomly learned that recently, but it's interesting to know that there's different parts of the land that burn. And especially here, we have all of the land management staff who maintains the land and does all of that. But recently you guys have had some pretty big acquisitions. What are your plans with that?
Sure. So we've had some great properties move through the system recently. Most recently, the county council approved us closing on 2,500 acres of property in the Edgewater area. And this is really great property. And I want to put in a plug here for the family. They have a tremendous legacy within Volusia County too. The Stewart family goes back a long way. But the property itself is very important to us. It actually has what we call hydrologic conveyance. It has water flow that ultimately moves into the Indian River Lagoon. So we're working on protecting the water quality of the Indian River Lagoon by picking up these large pieces of property where we know we're going to have water move across them and ultimately onto the surface water of the the IRL.
And just if I'm connecting two dots that don't really connect, tell me this, but by preserving that and protecting that water quality, you're doing that by ensuring it's never developed. There's never going to be condos sitting on that water. There's never going to be a restaurant or a bar or one of Daniel's skate parks.
It is, but here's where we talk about the land management working hand in hand. So we A, preserve it, but we B, maintain it. And so this is where the land management staff's skill set comes into play to ensure that the property is maintained in optimal condition, but that also protects water quality. When we reduce fuel load, when we deal with things like invasives, when we deal with things like invasive animals that may be disturbing the soil, creating more runoff, these are things that we can do to help protect the Indian River Lagoon.
I tell you, let's take a break from Tim making me feel like I'm not very smart, and we'll come back and dig into Echo just a little bit.
We are Volusia County Beach Safety. We're here to serve Volusia County's 47 miles of unique coastline. Volusia County beaches. Yeah, those beaches. But also these beaches. We have millions of visitors every year, and we work around the clock to keep our beaches safe and beautiful. And you can help.
Swim near a staff lifeguard tower.
Pick up your trash. And fill holes. Identify, avoid, and escape rip currents.
Please leave the beach cleaner than you found it.
There we go. Look out for one another and keep an eye on kids, especially near the traffic lane and in the water.
Pets are allowed at our 2 pet-friendly beaches, Lighthouse Point Park and Smyrna Dunes Park.
If you see something, say something.
A clean and safe beach guarantees fun in the sun for everyone. Thank you for doing your part to keep Volusia County beaches beautiful. See you at the beach!
Make the most of your day at the beach. Download the Volusia County Beaches app today. Sign up for real-time notifications on vehicle ramp openings and closings. Find staffed lifeguard towers. Get updates on tides and beach conditions, plus off-beach parking and coastal parks info. Volusia County Beaches app is available for your smart devices at the App Store and Google Play.
Good morning. Welcome back to Volusia Today. We were just talking about Volusia Forever and how cool the program and how smart Tim is because he knows everything ever.
That's what we're going to call him from now on when we see him. We're going to call him Smart Tim.
Yeah, Smart Tim. Yeah,
smart,
he knows everything. Everything.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Anytime I have a question about anything, I'm just like, hey, Tim, real quick. But we also have Echo here, which Echo, Daniel, I mean, you are so knowledgeable about the program and everything that's going on. And I know you guys have some funding for educational programs as well. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
So the actual grant program, when we work with them, the city or the nonprofit, they're the ones that actually will do the educational programs and operational programs. All we're doing is basically funding the grant, and they can as low as $12,500 for an ECHO grant, up to $600,000 for a standard grant. And then all of our standard grants are normally $600,000, but they can come for, whatever the project cost is going to be. And then they would have to just bring match to the table. So if they're coming with a $600,000 project request, they would have to match $600,000 as well. So it's basically a 1-to-1 match program.
Wow. So I go out and do a lot of site visits for Echo. We have our monthly spotlight on social, so I get to go out and see all of them. And one of the questions, I always end up running into somebody who's there, and they're like, why is this weird girl standing here taking videos of me while I'm at the park or I'm, wherever? And so I always end up chatting with them. I'm like, oh, I work for Volusia County, and I kind of explain what I'm doing there for their spotlight. And the number one question I get asked is like, hey, there's this other park I know about who could really use a renovation similar to what happened here. How does someone apply for something like that?
Yeah, so we look forward to working with all the nonprofits and municipalities. They just need to reach out to ECHO staff, and we can get them on board and go through the application process. Basically, they need to attend a mandatory workshop through ECHO, and that's where they confirm their eligibility, ask all the questions, and then we go through the process of running them through what's expected, and then they would apply for a technical application. And then during that process, we review the application and we try to get them to the finish line to make sure that they're going to have public use, that it's going to be something that the people want. And then all the budgeted, and required drawings and everything that's required for the program.
Who can I apply? Who can apply?
So a municipality, Volusia County government can apply. Our different divisions can apply. And then also a nonprofit 501c3. For at least 2 years, they have to be a nonprofit.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's go, Maggie. Let's go. Let's see if Daniel is as smart as Tim, right? Let's go real quick through. Daniel, give me. I'm going to put you on the spot for a second.
Okay. But
I have confidence in you. Give me 3. It's ECHO. ECHO. Refresh our memory. What's E?
Environmental.
C.
Cultural.
H.
Historical.
Okay. And O.
And then outdoor recreation.
Okay. Give me 3 E projects.
E projects.
That I'm a dad. I'm a taxpayer. I'm going to go this weekend. I need to go. Where am I going to go to experience an E?
Museum of Art and Science.
Okay. That we funded that?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah. They actually have, I believe, 5 different grants with us for different things in their facility.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Where is that?
In Daytona Beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's another one?
Lyonia Environmental Center.
Okay. That's a good one. I love that.
Deltona.
Yep.
Okay, then you got, if you're into theater, We got the Daytona Playhouse in Daytona, or in downtown DeLand, right? We got the Athens Theater.
The Athens Theater. Wait. I think you got out of E and you went into something else.
Just all over the place. Just getting all different. we have a total of 272 projects.
Oh, that's good
throughout the county of Volusia.
Wow,
and the one thing to really look for when people, they all ask all the time, well, what is Echo? I don't know what Echo is.
Yeah.
Well, look for the big bronze signs that are out at these parks that have the Echo logo and then the Volusia County logo, right? And that's how you know that that's funded by taxpayer dollars.
What if somebody has a great idea for an Echo project, but they don't have they're not a nonprofit. They just want to recommend something to you. How does that is that an option?
Yeah, they can recommend, and then we would just work with the municipalities and say, hey, we've getting a lot of requests. Do you guys have any ideas to try to get, improvement to a specific playground, for instance, or, a renovation to a skate park, or adding athletic fields, right? We're big into pickleball right now. Yeah. So that's the new cultural phenomenon is pickleball. So we're trying to get with municipalities to say, hey, we need pickleball courts because people are requesting them.
Last night, my 18-year-old was leaving at like 9 o'clock at night, and his mom was like, "Hey, where are you going?" He's like, "I'm going to play pickleball." I'm like, first of all, it's 9 o'clock at night, and second of all, you're 18, and like, what 18-year-old out there is playing pickleball? And I was shocked at because there's this perception, maybe it's only mine, that is there's a specific generation that plays pickleball, and
I play pickleball.
I do too.
You're pretty close to his age. Like I was shocked to to know that him and his friends want to go out and play pickleball instead of you know.
It started with senior citizens, to be honest. It was geared towards them, and now it's just taken over. And kids are playing it's elementary kids play all the time. I mean, it's just taken over.
I tell you what, we've only got less than a minute left. I want to close by saying you guys are doing amazing work out there, right? And I've worked in a couple of I've only been here a year. I've worked in a couple of the counties. Not all counties, the residents would support these two referendums and do it over and over and over again. That says a lot about what you guys are doing and the community's confidence in the projects that you're building and what it's doing for you. Somebody said quality of life earlier. That's exactly what you're doing. You're building quality of life for us. We very much appreciate that, and thank you both for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.